Ever wondered how Christianity and superstition coexisted during the Middle Ages? The Middle Ages, a period stretching from the 5th to the 15th century, was a time when the world was rapidly changing, and two seemingly contradictory forces were at play: the rise of Christianity and the persistence of superstition. Christianity was on the rise, becoming the dominant religion across Europe. Its teachings were beginning to be universally accepted, and its influence was growing. The church was becoming an institution of power and control, guiding the lives of the people in ways that were previously unimaginable. But while Christianity was gaining ground, superstition was not easily swept away. Superstitions were deeply rooted in people's lives, woven into the fabric of their daily routines, their beliefs, and their fears. They provided explanations for the unknown, the unexplained, the mysterious. They offered comfort in times of uncertainty and a sense of control over the unpredictable forces of nature. So, how did these two forces, Christianity and superstition, coexist? It's a complex question that takes us deep into the heart of the Middle Ages. On one hand, the church preached faith in God, the power of prayer, and the importance of living a virtuous life. On the other hand, people clung to their superstitions, their charms and rituals, their belief in the power of the supernatural. There was tension, of course. The church sought to eradicate superstition, viewing it as a threat to its authority and a challenge to its teachings. And yet, despite the church's efforts, superstition persisted, a testament to its deep roots in the human psyche. The interplay between Christianity and superstition during the Middle Ages is a fascinating study of cultural evolution, of the struggle between old beliefs and new, of the tension between power and tradition. It's a story that reveals as much about human nature as it does about the times in which it unfolded. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the fascinating relationship between Christianity and superstition in the Middle Ages. In the early Middle Ages, Christianity was on the rise, but what was its relationship with superstition? As we turn the pages back to the early Middle Ages, we find ourselves amidst a significant shift in religious landscapes. Christianity, once a small sect in the vast Roman Empire, was now emerging as a dominant force. Its teachings were spreading across Europe, bringing a new perspective to the masses. Christianity's rise was a monumental event in human history, but it didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual process marked by countless conversions, missionary expeditions, and the construction of churches. The religion's teachings, centered around the life and teachings of Jesus Christ, offered hope and solace to people in a time of great uncertainty and change. But what about superstition? Well, it's important to remember that superstition was deeply rooted in the society of the Middle Ages. People held on to beliefs that explained the unexplainable, beliefs that provided comfort in a world filled with mystery and fear. Christianity, with its emphasis on faith and divine providence, offered a stark contrast to these superstitions. The church taught that God, not luck or chance, was in control of the world. Yet, despite Christianity's rise and its teachings, superstition still held sway among people. In fact, Christianity and superstition often existed side by side. Some people clung to their old beliefs while embracing the teachings of the church. Others incorporated Christian symbols into their superstitious practices, creating a unique blend of faith and folklore. The church, for its part, had a complex relationship with these superstitions. While it sought to dispel beliefs it saw as pagan or heretical, it also recognized that these beliefs were deeply ingrained in the minds and hearts of the people. So in the early Middle Ages, we see a world in flux, a world where Christianity was on the rise, but superstition still held a powerful grip. It was a world where faith and folklore often intertwined, creating a complex and fascinating tapestry of belief. As we move forward in time, we will see how this relationship between Christianity and superstition evolved. In the mid-Middle Ages, superstitions were still alive and well, often coexisting with Christianity. The period we're delving into now is quite a fascinating one. With the growth of Christianity, one might expect that superstitions would fade into the background. Yet, they held their ground, often intertwining with the new religious practices. Let's consider a few examples. The belief in the evil eye, a superstition with origins in ancient Greece and Rome, persisted through the Middle Ages. It was thought that certain individuals had the power to cause harm or bad luck just by looking at someone or something with envy or malice. To counter this, Christians would often make the sign of the cross or invoke the name of Jesus. Another prevalent superstition was the belief in witches and their malevolent powers. These supposed witches were often women who lived on the fringes of society, and their perceived threat was so significant that it led to the infamous witch trials later on. Christians dealt with this fear by turning to prayer, holy water, and sacred symbols for protection. Interestingly, the church itself wasn't immune to superstition. Holy relics, for instance, were highly revered. These were objects, often body parts of saints or items they had touched, believed to possess divine power. People would go on long pilgrimages just to be in the presence of a relic, hoping for a miracle or divine intervention. And then there were the superstitions about the supernatural creatures of the night. Stories of werewolves, vampires, and other mythical beings were widespread, adding a layer of fear and excitement to the dark hours. Christians would often employ various rituals, prayers, or blessed objects to ward off these creatures. The interplay between Christianity and superstition during this time was complex, reflecting the struggle to reconcile old beliefs with new ones. Yet it also reveals the human need for reassurance in the face of the unknown. The late Middle Ages saw a significant shift in the relationship between Christianity and superstition. This shift, however, is a tale for another time. For now, let's appreciate the rich tapestry of beliefs that characterize this intriguing period in history. In the late Middle Ages, the church began to fight back against superstition. But how successful was it? This period marked a turning point, as the church strove to assert its dominance over the realm of belief. The church, a bastion of order and orthodoxy, found itself locked in a struggle against the chaotic and uncontrolled world of superstition. It was a world that thrived in the shadows, in whispers, and in the unspoken fears of the people. The church sought to bring light to these shadows, to dispel the fears and replace them with faith. The clergy launched campaigns to educate the public, preaching sermons against superstitious beliefs, condemning them as heresy. They asserted that superstition was a tool of the devil, designed to lead the faithful astray. To counteract this, the church worked tirelessly to promote the teachings of Christianity, asserting that faith in God was the only true path to salvation. But it was a hard-fought battle. Superstition was deeply ingrained in the fabric of society, intertwined with daily life and practices. It was a part of the people's cultural identity, their way of understanding and interacting with the world around them. The church's attempts to eradicate superstition were met with resistance, often leading to conflict and tension. Ironically, the church's fight against superstition led to the emergence of new forms of superstition. The fear of witchcraft and demonic possession, for instance, took root during this period. The church's teachings inadvertently gave credence to these fears, reinforcing the belief in the supernatural. So, how successful was the church in its fight against superstition? The answer is complex. On one hand, the church did succeed in establishing its authority and influence, shaping the religious landscape of the time. On the other hand, superstition persisted, morphing and adapting, finding new ways to survive. The struggle between Christianity and superstition in the Middle Ages was a complex and fascinating one. It's a testament to the power of belief, the human desire for understanding, and the enduring tension between faith and fear. The echoes of this struggle still resonate today in our ongoing quest to reconcile our beliefs with our understanding of the world. So, what can we conclude about Christianity and superstition in the Middle Ages? The Middle Ages, a pivotal period in human history, was marked by a unique interplay between Christianity and superstition. This era was not simply a time of blind faith or irrational beliefs, but rather a complex tapestry of evolving religious thought and cultural practices. Christianity, rising as a dominant force, sought to bring order and moral structure to a society riddled with uncertainty and fear. The church became a beacon of hope, offering guidance and solace amidst the chaos. It provided not just spiritual comfort, but also a sense of community and shared moral values. But with this rise, the church also had to grapple with the entrenched superstitions that had long held sway over people's lives. Superstition, often seen as the shadowy counterpart to religion, continued to exert its influence in the Middle Ages. Despite the church's efforts to stamp it out, these beliefs persisted, often intertwining with Christian doctrine in fascinating and unexpected ways. Superstition offered explanations for the inexplicable, providing a sense of control in a chaotic world. The church, recognizing the power and pervasiveness of these superstitions, responded in various ways. At times, it sought to incorporate these beliefs into its own doctrine, blending the line between religion and superstition. At other times, it waged an active war against these practices, labeling them as heresy. This dance between Christianity and superstition was not a straightforward battle, but rather a complex negotiation. It was a dynamic process of adaptation, resistance, and compromise, reflecting the changing needs and concerns of society. In conclusion, the Middle Ages were a fascinating period of religious and cultural evolution. The interplay between Christianity and superstition was not a mere clash of belief systems, but rather a reflection of the broader societal changes taking place. It was a time of great change and conflict, a conflict that continues to shape our world today.